to our Halloween special for 2023. This year is going to be another fantastic year with my friends here as we go through an entire makeup collection, including some baubles that just delivered for me, because today, my friends, we are going to the depths of the ocean. Today we are going to be seeking our voices with some ghoulish makeup today to find out, is it to die for or worth losing your voice for? Or is it just a nightmare? Grab your little mermaid drink and let's dive into this fun, fantastic, Tide-rific video. Cheers! Merfolk, this year for our Halloween special, we are going to channel our inner sirens. This year we are going to be going to the depths of our makeup collection and finding out, will this makeup work great? Some of it is a little old.
Now look at me.
I'm a little bit of a nervous wreck, if you know what I mean, because some things in my collection are possibly past their poipus. Might be a little chunky. To set our face, we're going to start with some vitamin C. Quite literally. I know an octopus at the bottom of the ocean who was able to give me this elixir of Calypso. So we don't lose any of our scales. She said just to do a few drops. And use your fins to massage it into your scales. If you have a thingamabobber, you can use it to really wake up the skin. Give her a little bit of a lift. We don't want to be gilly, so we want to tighten. We're not ready for our shelfies yet. We need to make sure that everything is set up for precision. Pardon me, I had to go hush the puppies outside. They were getting a little too loud and rambunctious. While we let our Calypso vitamin C into our scales, let's open up a few thingamabobbers that just came. I'm hoping today's video will be a tale of a time with my friends, or my school of friends. While we get into the Halloween tale, I decided I needed some of the magical Tarte. This sea witch company was having a sale on their magic elixir that I have completely run out of. The Shape Tape Glow On for under these scaly eyes. This is a lot of tissue, although this is the perfect color for my clamshells. You see, my seashells, I couldn't find anything that would going to work for them today. Actually, they're probably more like D shells, but you know what I'm saying. Perfect color though, right? We move on. You've heard my tales before about this amazing elixir to go underneath the eyes for that extra glow. Now, we're not trying to look like Ariel today. No. We are a sophisticated siren. We're gonna go to the depths. We're gonna be deep. But we still want to glow and not have any dark circles. That's not the kind of darkness we're looking for. And one of my mer friends sent me something that she has had from our friends at BoxyCharm for forever, but she's never used it. Want to see what I'm excited to use in today's dazzling look? Because we don't want to look like a mackerel today. Who received this ABH palette back in the day? This beauty is going to have all of those deep under the sea rich colors that we can use. I do have my own large clamshell right here that has some more colors that are going to be perfect for today's looks. Let's get into it. Now this is a little bit older, so I'm hoping they work. I'll have to shell my friend later and thank her for this beautiful gift. But before we get into powders, we all know the makeup rules. Creams before powders. I also bought some product to maybe be able to make some of our scales look a little bit more fin-like. So I've never used this type of product. We will see how it works. Could be just squidding you, it may not happen, but we're going to try. Now that our vitamin C has really sunken into the depths of our wreckage here, next we're going to be going into something that's going to make our face smooth. And we have quite a few products to get into. I pulled aside a lot of products that you have seen in my collection previously. However, we need to figure out what's going to work and what is not. I need my face to start like a clamshell. It needs to be smooth and shiny. This could be our first crab of the day. I don't really know. Who remembers when I pulled this out years ago? This is the Ofra Rodeo Drive Primer. I have no idea what else I would use this for these days. I would use it for the body, but let's see. Will this work on the face now that she's dried? I don't even know if it's gonna pump out, to be honest. Let's see if this thingamabob actually produces liquid gold? Oh my gosh. Oh. 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 Forms quite nicely, actually. But how will she fare on the skin, on the face? I'm scared. It's like the Wheel of Fortune. What's going to happen? We don't know. I'm genuinely shell-shocked right now. I really didn't know how this was going to apply. Do I look like a pufferfish? Do I look like a starfish? These are the things we have to ask ourselves. So up close, she's a bit of a wreck. Let me draw you in. We'll definitely not be using any more because I think we found a decent middle ground here. It is a bit patchy on the forehead. And, oh, can you see this bunching? Let's see, can we spread this? Should we use it on our fins later? Whew. I'm actually quite happy it's not any worse. I wasn't sure what to expect, but this looks like a decent start. So now let's go in with this bit of potion under the eyes, and I don't even know if we need it now. It does provide a nice coverage. This is a brand new product. Now it is darker. I did get the darker shade that works well for me because what I do is I take my little fins. Can you hear my hush puppies? They don't know how to be their name. Shh, flotsam and jetsam in there. My fins and I just press it in under the eyes. With this primer, I'm practically a glowing mermaid. And that's not the goal today. No, no, we are a siren. We are luring men to their death. Now that we have a glowy base, I thought it would be a great opportunity to try to go a little bit on the green-blue side so we can really get in touch with our inner siren. Here's to hoping this doesn't mess the whole thing up and we have to start over. I knew a sea witch who let me borrow her cauldron. She just finished using it by taking a little mermaid's voice away, something like that. I don't know, sounds like man problems. This little mermaid cauldron right here, and then what we're going to do with it is really make our scales come alive. Does this seahorse even have a plan? Honestly, not really. I have a few inspo pics, but that's about it. This might be a little bit of cheating like a catfish, but I don't have any greens and blues for foundations, and I really want to be able to add that little bit of depth, or a lot of depth, because we are going to the bottom of the ocean, because that's where we keep all of our victims. Before we can go into putting on any of that, we need to get our comb and really get our hair out of our way. Oh, I look positively like a goldfish. So what we're gonna do now that we have the hair back is remind ourselves that we are royalty of the sea. We're gonna take a scaly elixir and do a little bit of mixing. No going back now. Honestly been wondering which one of these products needs to go to the depths because they are just killer products. And this primer so far is definitely oxidizing. It's letting the oxygen in and we are down below in the depths. We cannot be turning pufferfish orange. I also think it might be pulling this. I feel like this may be pulling away the makeup. It's intended to stay for the deepest ocean swims possible. This may end up going in the abyss. We will find out. Oh, jellyfish. I just realized I think my scales may have had to have gone on my skin before I used the Glowfish primer. Still going to try to be extra scaly. You'd think as a professional I would have done a dry run. Matching your foundation is never an easy task, merfolk or not. Our scales are very dry and a little cracky. I have never used that type of foundation, so, well, paint makeup, but you know what I'm saying. So we're gonna moisten the lips. And it looks really streaky, patchy. It looks all the things, but I'm hoping we can still work with this. I'm going to jump into my $1 AOA Perfect BB Cream that I recently discovered in a previous video with you. I'm also going to be using the sponge that already has my scales all over it. And we're going to make a mess all over our faces here and just give ourselves some scaly dimension. I've been calling men to the depths for weeks now. I did not do a trial dry run because who wants to be dry? This product applies beautifully. These products are merely a sand dollar. It's insane. and it looks so good on the skin. I really did not think it was gonna look that good, but it does. Also, I have these other little creamy dreamies from the AOA line that I got for this video. And again, creams before powders, so we're doing the work. This is the shade Blueberry, and I think that might look really good with the scales we're working on today. I'm going to put my tentacle in here and warm it up because it is very stiff. It tends to work better with fingers, tentacles, than it seems to with a brush. There it goes, now that it's warmed up. I didn't think this would work too well all over the face, hence the reason for the excess paints. But I want to even everything out now. I like that this is actually peeling on my skin or scales because it looks like rough scales down here. I love it. We're laying the base of our scales right now. This doesn't feel wet. This doesn't feel anything like I thought it would, but I'm so used to my darling Colourpops that we're definitely going to be using. This is honestly a little bit of a disappointing product right now. Oh, please don't stop here right now, Amazon. This is not the moment. Thank goodness. They're scuttling along. A bit of a downer right now. It works well if you use a tentacle, but otherwise, I don't think so. Oh no, Amazon might be coming. How much adult siren acne do you think I'm going to get from all of this? Do you see how this is all pulling off? Lifting off. It's all right, it's just gonna look like scales from the depths when we start swimming. I think the scales on this side are a little overgrown, but it's just a birth defect. It's how I was born. This very dry product that could really only be used with your tentacle is very disappointing. I have to say, very, very disappointing. So I may be throwing this into the abyss by the end of this video. Should we see how the shade Sweet 16 does? Also very firm. Maybe I'll get some liquid of some sort. Give ourselves a little highlight because this does have some shimmer. I appreciate the glowy finish on my scales because it does make them look nice and wet. I'll get off my seahorse about not being positive that the potion that the octopus gave us is actually any good, and our scales are looking a little crusty. Little creatures, little cretins at the bottom of the ocean, but it's fine. Nothing we can't work with. I think we're ready to go into the powders now. I recently received something from Yari G's collab with Ofra Cosmetics, and these dark shades right here could be perfect. I want to add a little bit of the blue into it. I don't know if you can tell, but this is a beautiful blue. I really want to make the scales look a little bit better. Let's contour the nose with this color because it is a beautiful deep blue. And add some depth before we add the scales. Oh, this product's to die for. This is a beautiful palette. Let's do a set down with the Laura Mercier Translucent Glow Powder all over for these creams and everything else we've been doing. We want that wet, shiny look because we're down in the depths of the ocean. I have something in my collection I never speak of. Sea Witch has cast a spell, and I've never talked about this palette except for when I received it in a subscription box. And I'll be honest, it's been on the chopping block for me for a while. The only reason I've had it in my collection is for something just like this. This is going to be just as controversial as if I was asking you to grow legs. Be prepared. This is the James Charles palette. It is the large palette. I had it upside down. I want to use the white shade to start brightening up certain areas here and have these blues on deck along with the Colourpop palette, the High Tide palette. I'm honestly not sure what to expect. I rarely use this. I think I only used it when I first received it. I've heard many good reviews about this palette, but I've also heard a lot of controversial things about the person, so let's just leave that on the shore, shall we? Deep blue matte shade here. Really just accent the brows. I will say, these are well pressed, so it's very easy to work with. It is such a large palette though, I run out of room for this, so do I really need her? Starting just whispers of a siren eye as we go along. Things are definitely getting crusty out here at the edges. These are some crustaceans. The size of this palette is such a drawback. Also, the person behind it, I feel like I can't talk about it on my channel. So I honestly don't know if this will stay in my collection. The shadows have done a good job. Oof, but I also knew these shadows are amazing. Look at the depth of this one. It's like the depth. Oh, I did not know that was going to happen. What a glorious color and blend and pigmentation. Ooh, need some detail brushes for this. This is where she comes alive. Colourpop to the rescue. Mer people, this is where we trust the process. This color makes me want to be part of their world. Unlike the little 16-year-old Ariel, we like to darken up under our eyes, not put white under there. This palette has been the to die for palette of this entire video. It is fixing all of the crepiness, all of the things that are falling apart on my face. This palette is, the 16 sand dollars for this palette, 100% worth it. Things are falling apart up here and I'm just taking a fluffy brush with this palette and putting it back together and keeping the camera slightly zoomed out so it doesn't ruin the effect for you. But next Halloween, if you are tempted, unless you're going to be only using this product, these are a waste of your time. Invest in a good Colourpop palette with the assigned shades that you need. I think it's time. I found scale stencils. I thought about doing the viral stocking over the head situation, but our crown, I don't know how that would have worked. So we have some scale option. I have some other purples in this Pacifica palette I thought about using today, along with some of these other palettes as well. I did not have a very good first impression of this palette, so I'm not sure how it will work. Open up these large clamshells and see. I'm not sure we have too many options, but there are some purples in there and some blues. This new clamshell to my collection might be exactly what we need to give the pops of color for the scales. I'm not sure if there's anything else in here I want. Some other things in my collection that either need to make a great appearance in this video or go away are the LA Play palette, which honestly looks a lot like my Colourpop palette, I'm realizing. Rare Beauty has a few shimmers in here that could look amazing. We're gonna find out. If you could see on the other side of this, it is a mess. Now, a stocking would have been good because then it stays put, whereas this, I cannot move it once I stick it on there. I'm going to do test scales. Maybe I should have got a stocking. Moment of truth. Oh. Oh. Oh! I like that. Here goes nothing. Very powdery shadows in the Anastasia Beverly Hills palette. Not bad. Now we're going to take some smaller scales and go lighter. Popping into the Pacifica palette for this lighter area. Not so sure what I'm going to think of it, to be honest. Ooh, now we're starting to get a little bit of the effect I was hoping for. Just using the Pacifica palette for a certain section right now, and I'm curious how this will look. Yeah, I'm not totally sold on this palette. I don't think it does a very good job of blending, applying well, and I know this is such a unique situation we're doing right now, but I'm not vibing with this too much. If we're gonna do this, people, we're going in. All right, we'll try some of the James Charles palette because I've tried 2 to 3 of these other ones for the purple, and purple is a difficult one, we know. It's so fun. I feel like the light colors won't work, so we're just gonna go in with some combinations of colors from the ABH palette because this one I know I can trust right now. Yeah, she's performing, she's pigmented, she is the moment. These other ones just are not cutting it when it comes to these tones, and I'm getting a little closer so you can see the scales, but if I get too close, you'll be able to see how the paint just did us dirty. Very careful not to move things. It's easy for me to get distracted with the overall look right now. I'm really noticing how well this palette is performing. It is a messy beast though, as you can see. Anastasia is known for all of the kickback, but it is because she can perform even under the most dire conditions. So far, Colourpop and Anastasia are saving this look. How bold and pigmented these purples are. If you haven't pulled this palette out in a while and you love a purple, you're sleeping on her. This is like an artistry palette. This is allowing everything to at least come together with all of the hodgepodge of things I have on my face today. I am truly impressed with this. So grateful for my Mer friends to send me this. I want to see if I can really make some definition in the forehead with the scales with this white. So we're gonna go right here on the top of the forehead. This is me just on the fly, stippling this on. Oh, she is beautiful. We'll be doing that down here. You can see it now. Anastasia, Beverly Hills, and Colourpop single-handedly saving Halloween. Now with this color all over, my white cast is definitely changing a bit more green. In person, this looks more blue than it does green. I'll try to fix what I can in editing. But you can see all of these scales now. Everything is looking so stunning. I'm wishing I had not done the paint. Using this white all over in the areas I'm wanting to brighten. This is what I was trying to achieve earlier with the James Charles palette. And quite honestly, this is doing superior. This palette looks a wreck, but we're not done with her yet. What kind of merfolk would we be if we did not do the eyes? These shadows are just to die for. They blend, they have pigmentation. They are the moment. This is an amazing pigmented palette. See if Colourpop can save some of these spots that just keep peeling off. I'm gonna use my tentacles here into the darker shades and just fix where things might be kind of falling apart. Let's see what this shade actually looks like. Those purple flecks into this. This could work for something. Perfect. Do some of this again. I would definitely take out the potion from the Sea Witch because it's just been crumbling and I could have achieved a lot of these colors with my Colourpop because it's definitely an option. This mascara from Milani is the anti-gravity because we're under the sea. We don't need gravity where we are. Do we? This is the best mascara I have in my collection right this moment. I am loving this. It makes lashes have that false lash effect. However, today we are going to be putting on actual falsies. However, I do have this beautiful Danessa Myricks liner that I feel like deserves a moment. Not only does it go with the look, but it adds just that little something extra. The Sea Witch put a hex on me. My eyes won't open. She takes voices, she takes vision. How much glue is gonna be on this lash? Ah, I haven't worn lashes like this in forever. Ugh, let go, let go. Whew, whew. Oh, I can see. Just a few finishing touches. I use the James Charles palette right now and it is not doing as well. We're just gonna go back to ABH. It did not do as well. Look at that. That's from the James Charles palette. No, no. Move our voices. The ABH palette may be really messy, but it is totally worth it. Let's see. Oh, so much better. So much better. I don't know how this is transposing on camera, but my skin is looking so glowy. Now this Siren is just curious how some of these more highlighty products are gonna work on the skin, just to give a little juicing up of the non-blue-green skin at the moment. Don't really see much. This is very, very subtle. Merit, this Merit stick is super subtle on the skin, which is great for, you know, people with 2 legs, but we got fins, we're flopping around and we want to look glowy. We want to look like we are trying to catch a sailor, and I just don't think that is the move. So I have this Rare Beauty shimmer palette, and I have been very curious about this green shade, maybe this blue shade, and I'm pretty sure our neck needs some scales. So we're just testing out all of these today. It's actually a really pretty color. I don't know if it'll pick up on camera. Oh, I think you can. It's like this yellowy seaweed green. Not really coming up. I think the shimmers are just better for like toppers and stuff like that, because I think we need more in-depth colors for what we're doing. Well, diving into the depths with you with all of this makeup today has been a lot of fun. I need to tell you, there are some things I would absolutely do differently tomorrow when I'm getting ready to do my deep dive into the depths to pull some sailors down with me. First and foremost, I would have used specific products more than I would have used the paints that you saw me use from the Spirit Halloween store, which sucked the spirit and life out of my skin, and I'm probably gonna have breakouts. The High Tide palette from Colourpop has been the clutch thing in here that has done amazing to give me some depth, give me some shine, do some blending where the other products have failed me. This is swimming beautifully because of this beautiful palette. Also, so grateful for my amazing friends who have sent me some of these products, because I did have this big Anastasia palette. This is the, I think, volume 3, but the volume 1 palette was to die for with today's look. All of these purples really gave this look some dimension, really gave us some life, and it is amazing to go with our crown. The blendability is amazing. The pigmentation is absolutely there. Is it going to be messy? Yes. Do I have things all over my hands? Yes. But is it worth it? Absolutely. I can't wait to play with this palette some more for maybe more regular looks. Those things that people on land do. Also, thank you so much to Yari G and Ofra for sending me her recent collab, because this blue shade was absolutely a stunner. And you know what? Let's see if we can look a little wet with this one, because this is glisten, and I love to glisten underwater. And I feel like, oh, she is a moment under the sea. Do a little fluffy brush here. This is lovely. This is a great new palette that Yari G is in collaboration with. I will be leaving her codes and links down below. Thank you so much, Yari. I appreciate you and Ofra. The primer that is quite honestly older than probably the oldest sea witch in the sea definitely left some things hit or miss, honestly. This is really old. I don't even know what the expiration date on this would be, but I'm thinking, oh, it says expiration April of 2022. So it may be time for her to go to the depths of the ocean. However, my second Tarte Glow Wand was absolutely what I needed, and I could have used this instead of this. Now, speaking of all over my face, like I said, if you are a sea creature that just wants to get a little different and you only plan on using paints, you could use these. I honestly wish I would have just skipped them. I will be honest, this palette is so massive, and it honestly did not produce with these pigmented shades. Now granted, today's look is obviously an extreme one. However, I really was just unimpressed with these shades, including the white shade, compared to what I had with the Volume 1 Norvina ABH palette. So I can comfortably now say that I have things in here that are better in my collection, so I'm going to get rid of the James Charles Massive palette, and I think I might also, where'd she go? She's hidden under things because I could barely use her. Get rid of this Pacifica palette. This is the Purple Nudes. I have tried this on my eyes on a on-land look when you got legs walking around, and it was muddy. It didn't blend well, and I was hoping maybe it could be, you know, something like this where we go extreme. No, she did not do a very good job today either, so I'm not impressed with this. This is going down to Davy Jones' locker. While we talk, let's get wet. Don't want to lose any of this while we're swimming around. This is the Dewy Set from ABH. This is a product I really only use if I want to look like a glowfish, because this is just going to keep me glowing and looking like I am swimming deep under the ocean. Even the Rare palette actually surprised me with some of the sea moss green we have down here. I actually like that look. I'm really impressed with the AOA BB Cream still, even for such a look. Obviously, I ended up covering up this product, but I felt like I had a good canvas to start with. I really enjoyed this, and again, she's only a sand dollar. However, the AOA gel shadows, I was not impressed with. However, I mean, they did be able to start a look. However, I wanted to be creamy enough to use with a brush. It definitely stained my tentacles. Everything today is definitely stained, as if I've been drugged down to the depths, which is always a good time in the ocean. But I have a feeling getting all of this off will be a bit of an octopusy time. It's gonna be difficult not to have this in my seabed tonight. I'm not sure if I'm going to be keeping these little gel liners, quite honestly. They're probably good just for liners, but you can only use them with your fingers, so these are on the chopping block for me. I also realized I have everything I need from my High Tide palette, so I really don't need this LA Girl Foreplay palette, so I'm going to ship this, put this in the Sea Mail for a girlfriend. The mascara is to die for, but these lashes are not staying on. These lashes always do, so the Milani Anti-Gravity Mascara for the win. The Laura Mercier Glow Powder did a beautiful job making everything look really nice, actually. I'm very impressed with how everything has set down, well preserved thanks to this powder. Also, the glow from the Dewy Set is doing a beautiful job as well. Quite honestly, I'm very distracted and obsessed with my lip color, which is just this shimmer shade from this palette. That is literally all it is, and it is quite glorious. Scales I would have gone a little lighter with over here, maybe a little bit over here, but at the end of the day, we can breathe underwater, and that is the goal. Everything is staying really nicely. I think the shadows are really going to be something that could stay all night. I don't think the paint would have lasted. I think the eyeshadows absolutely are the way to go if you are trying to figure out what you're doing for All Hallows Eve. So thank you so much, and for going into the depths of this makeup collection with me. Help us decide what is to die for and what is just a nightmare. And there are some things on my forehead that are a full-on nightmare. I hope you swim around with me next month. It's going to be my birthday month and an exciting month of videos. Happy Halloween, friends!